Meet George. George is a startup founder from Boulder, Colorado. He's probably been to Switch before, and he has lots of opinions about climate and renewable energy. What he doesn't know is what's powering his Notion workspace. George has a mole, not the animal, the concerning kind, and a late-night ChatGPT query tells him to go see a dermatologist. He doesn't, but he feels better anyway. And somewhere along I-25, a diesel generator just switched on. Traditional search retrieves a cached answer. But an AI query runs something called inference, where it runs billions of fresh computations for you every single time. And the hardware doing so uses 10 times the power of a traditional server rack. In addition to using more power, AI queries also use more water. A traditional search uses about 1 to 5 drops, and an AI query uses about a teaspoon. So that's a 15 to 20x increase in water consumption for every AI query. Now, after his 2 a.m. mole query, George also needed a photo for the company Slack and decided to get some laughs by generating this. George on a golden retriever is one photo. However, this happens 78 million times every single day on ChatGPT. The joke might not scale, but the electricity bill sure scales with it. When you run an AI prompt, you are ordering from a menu that you do not see. Sometimes you do input the model, but what's running on the back end in terms of power consumption and electricity usage is not transparent to you, the user. In addition to that, all of these numbers that I just presented are based on the data center consumption of power and water alone. However, your AI model had to be trained once upon a time, and the power plant that produced the electricity also consumed water. And so it really depends on where you draw the box when you're looking at these different statistical numbers. So for 2025, we know roughly how much power and water AI total used. However, each of these companies, OpenAI and Anthropic, are not required to disclose the exact puzzle pieces. And so we don't really know what the puzzle is comprised of. We can just make our best assumptions from the outside looking in. As a result, estimates for how much power these models used vary significantly. One AI conversation, approximately 26 queries, uses anywhere from the equivalent of 30 seconds of microwaving to 3 minutes. That's a 6x range, because the truth is we just don't know exactly. In terms of water consumptions, best estimates put that AI conversation at about half a liter. But just to put that into perspective, the model training takes about a residential swimming pool's worth of water, or even more. We only know based on what has been publicly disclosed so far. And water scarcity isn't hypothetical. This is Antero Reservoir, which is being drained as we speak right now. 112 miles away, CoreSite is building a data center in North Denver that will require millions of gallons of water each year to cool its GPUs. This year, Colorado does not have enough for both. The sun sets, the wind stops, but the data center doesn't. Data centers require 24/7, 365-day uptime. And so even though the green energy future is real, and it is here, it is not powering George's 2 a.m. mole query. A diesel generator likely is. A study conducted by the MIT Technology Review in 2025 found that on average, data centers run 48% more carbon intense than the US average, due to the fact that a lot of them are just located in dirtier grids, and they rely on fossil fuels for backup generation when they don't have enough power. A prominent recent example of this is Colossus 2 in Memphis, Tennessee, which is running on 27 methane generators that were not permitted. They're currently being sued. But they didn't have enough electricity to meet the demand, so they just created it themselves. And to put this into perspective, in 2024, US data centers alone consumed 200 terawatt hours of electricity. That is the same amount of electricity as the 72 million people in Thailand consumed that same year. That number is expected to triple by 2028. All of the big tech giants are betting big. They are betting $700 billion in 2026 alone on AI infrastructure to power this rush for market share and to be the forerunners of this technology. Whether George knows it or not, that's where the economy is putting its money. So the answer might be simple. Just don't use AI. But George tried. He uses Google Search, he uses Canva, he uses Gmail, and all of these services quietly became AI on the back end. It's now not a question of what is AI, it's a question of what isn't. According to a Pew Research study, in 2025, 63% of American adults reported using AI a couple times a week. So in the room that I'm standing in today, at least 63% of you probably used an LLM this week, maybe even higher. Now comes the confession. I used AI to build this talk. The very thing that I spent 5 minutes indicting, 200 plus queries, 50 plus images generated. I stand here, an intentional hypocrite, to make this point to you, that every time we prompt, somebody pays. And somebody pays that bill in electricity, in water, and in actual money. This iceberg that George is standing on is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to AI queries. George still doesn't know, but now you do.